Okay, let's unpack this. Picture the scene. You've got this shadowy co-founder of a major blockchain entity, someone so fiercely private, they've basically been a whisper, digital myth for over a decade.
Right.
No interviews, no photographs, no public statements whatsoever. For years, the crypto community, they were actually debating if this person even existed.
I remember those rumors.
Yeah.
Was he just a construct?
Exactly. And then, just out of nowhere, after nearly 14 years of profound, almost legendary silence, they post a single cryptic emoji on social media.
One emoji.
One emoji. That's exactly what happened on June 23, 2025 with Arthur Brito, a foundational figure behind Ripple and the XRP Ledger, that's the XRP-specific blockchain, designed for high-speed, low-cost transactions at scale.
And the internet just blew up.
It erupted. So what does this seismic shift in silence truly mean? That's what we're digging into. This deep dive is all about Arthur Brito, his elusive identity, his pivotal role in creating XRP, his often misunderstood vision for this digital asset, and of course, the intense speculation ignited by his recent solitary social media post. Our mission here is to piece together the fragments of information available about this, enigmatic individual. We'll examine the varied interpretations of his past statements, explore the potential implications of his sudden cryptic return to the public eye. We'll delve into why his silence was so profound and why his one emoji post sent, frankly, shockwaves through the entire crypto world.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, and maybe the central insight of Brito's reemergence, is how a single cryptic action from someone so intensely private can paradoxically exert immense influence in this decentralized world. It really forces us to ask. In an age of constant transparency, where everyone's expected to have a digital footprint, a public persona, what power does strategic silence actually hold, in shaping narratives, influencing markets?
That's a great point.
His brief emergence isn't just about a tweet. It's almost like a masterclass in indirect communication, signaling profound shifts in the ecosystem he helped build, all without uttering a single word. It encourages critical thinking, doesn't it, about influence and communication in a decentralized world.
He truly does sound like the ultimate enigma. But, for someone of his foundational importance, how does that extreme reclusiveness, especially in an industry that's supposedly built on decentralized transparency, how does that actually shape the perception of his contributions? Does it enhance the legend, or does it just create this vacuum that gets filled with, unchecked speculation?
Well, it's certainly a rarity, and for Brito, it absolutely created a vacuum. One the community eagerly filled with speculation, narrative building, all sorts of theories. He's listed, of course, as a co-founder and president of PolySign. That's a company focused on secure digital asset infrastructure for institutions. Important stuff.
Right.
And, crucially, one of the original founders of Ripple. But his reclusiveness, it's legendary. We're talking about a figure who has granted 0 interviews, has no known public photos circulating, never appeared in any public forum.
0 footprint, almost.
Pretty much. And for years, this extreme privacy, it fueled those persistent rumors, with some people genuinely questioning if he even existed at all. He earned that moniker, the ghost in the machine, and it's a title that honestly captures the mystery surrounding him perfectly.
Yeah.
It's almost unheard of in this space to have someone so influential remain completely out of the spotlight for so long.
And that level of anonymity, it really has elevated him to this legendary, almost mythical status, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It makes you wonder, in today's always-on, social media-driven world, if such a feat of privacy is even possible anymore, especially for a tech founder.
It certainly has elevated him, and it's a testament to how deeply ingrained this mystery became in the community. However, and this is important, we do have solid counter-evidence that thankfully dispels those ghost theories. It confirms Arthur Brito is, in fact, a real distinct human being.
Okay, so what's the proof?
Well, for instance, a former advisor to Ripple, Michael Arrington, the founder of TechCrunch.
Yeah, sure.
He explicitly stated back in 2017 that he had met Brito many times in person.
Many times, not just once.
No, multiple meetings, affirming his tangible presence. Then, in 2019, Ripple's own communications team went on record unequivocally confirming his actual name and identity. That pretty much put an end to the false identity whispers.
So Ripple themselves confirmed it.
They did. And perhaps most definitively, Ripple's CTO, David Schwartz, who is a close collaborator with the Brito right from the beginning.
The guy who's very public?
Exactly. He has repeatedly confirmed Brito's reality and emphasized his profound commitment to privacy. Schwartz was quoted saying, "He is a separate and distinct human being in his own right, but he is intensely private.
Intensely private.
Schwartz has consistently reiterated this, even humorously describing Britto as a person who is so private, he makes me look like a Kardashian.
Okay, that's a great quote from Schwartz. Really hammers home the point.
It really does. And further legitimizing his identity and illustrating his foundational role, there's a 2012 agreement document that has widely circulated on crypto Twitter.
Ah, the famous agreement.
Yes. This agreement was between Chris Larsen, Jed McCaleb, and Britto himself. It laid out the initial structure and distribution for the nascent Ripple project. This document isn't just some curiosity. It outlines incredibly significant details about his involvement.
Like what specifically?
Specifically, it states that he was set to receive 2% of all XRP, which back then was referred to as Ripple credits.
2% of all XRP.
2%. To put that in perspective, given the total supply of 100 billion XRP, that's 2 billion XRP, a staggering amount, even at today's prices, let alone if the currency ever hits those, much rumored future valuations.
2 billion XRP.
Wow. And even more critically, this agreement granted him lifetime rights to build on the Ripple protocol without needing any explicit permission from the other co-founders or the company.
Lifetime rights. Without permission.
Exactly. This isn't just a legal detail. It's a profound statement about his unique and powerful position. It suggests an almost like sovereign right over a foundational piece of the ecosystem he co-created. It signifies deep trust, or maybe an acknowledgement of his irreplaceable architectural contribution, allowing him to endlessly innovate on the very infrastructure without typical corporate constraints.
That's almost unprecedented for a co-founder, isn't it?
Pretty much. It highlights the unparalleled respect for his vision and technical prowess right from the start. And Ripple's 2019 explanation for his privacy, it sheds a bit more light on his personal preferences. They described him as an introvert, super private, someone who simply has no desire to be a public figure due to personal reasons, acknowledging that management roles and public scrutiny can take its toll.
That deepens the portrait, doesn't it? A figure so committed to privacy that his very existence became a rumor. And this unprecedented level of secrecy, it's understandably led some to draw parallels that are truly fascinating, even questioning if he could be Bitcoin's anonymous creator, Satoshi Nakamoto.
It's a compelling thought, isn't it? Given the extreme lengths both individuals have gone to maintain their anonymity. The speculation about Britto potentially being Satoshi Nakamoto, it stems from several points. Their shared penchant for complete disappearance from the public eye, their foundational roles in creating two of the most significant digital assets, Bitcoin and XRP, and their deep technical understanding of distributed systems.
Right, the parallels are there.
They are. Now, there's no direct evidence to support this, let's be clear. But the very fact that this theory gains traction, it highlights the sheer depth of the mystery surrounding Britto. To remain so completely out of sight for so long, while being so central to such a significant project, it really does invite those kinds of comparisons. It elevates his career of quiet innovation to something truly unique in the tech world, especially in an industry often characterized by prominent, outspoken figures. His beginnings actually might surprise a lot of people.
That's right. Before he became this foundational figure in crypto, Arthur Brito actually had a career in video game design.
Yeah, wild, right.
Ripple CTO David Schwartz himself confirmed Brito's Moby Games profile on Twitter back in 2023. Showcased several credits, validated this seemingly unrelated background. It's certainly not your typical tech founder's resume, is it? Makes you wonder about the unexpected pathways to groundbreaking innovation.
It really isn't. And it absolutely makes you wonder what skills from game design, maybe system architecture, economic modeling within game worlds, even user experience might have translated into his profound work on blockchain and digital currencies.
How so? What's the connection there?
Well, think about it. Game designers are architects of complex virtual economies, right? They're balancing resource scarcity, player incentives, user engagement, all within a meticulously designed system. They create these self-contained worlds with their own rules, currencies, interactions. These are precisely the kinds of challenges you face when building a decentralized financial network for billions of people.
I never thought of it like that. Building world economies.
Exactly. Britto likely approached XRP Ledger design with this intuitive understanding of economic modeling, user flow, the intricacies of large-scale real-time systems. It probably transcended traditional financial system thinking, making these abstract concepts of digital value tangible and functional. It suggests a mind that thrives on designing intricate, functional architectures from the ground up, whether it's for entertainment or for global finance. And beyond gaming, his early forays into digital infrastructure are also quite telling. They establish this consistent pattern of involvement in foundational digital technologies.
Like what else?
He served as chief executive officer at Information Access Technologies, Inc. This was notably described as one of the first ISPs, internet service providers, back in the pre-dot-com bubble era.
One of the first ISPs, so right at the beginning of the public internet.
Right at the forefront, building the foundational pipes for digital communication, making the internet accessible. That experience in scaling internet access would have given him invaluable insights into network design, data transfer efficiency, managing vast user bases, all directly applicable to distributed ledger tech.
Makes sense.
Furthermore, we know he was operating an old Bitcoin exchange called exchangeyourbitcoins.com.
He ran a Bitcoin exchange early on.
Very early on. This isn't just casual engagement. It showcases his hands-on involvement with cryptocurrencies long before Ripple was even conceived, a direct plunge into the nascent digital asset market. Gave him firsthand experience with the challenges, the opportunities of peer-to-peer digital currency exchange. He wasn't just observing. He was actively building and operating in the very early crypto landscape.
So this isn't just someone who happened into crypto. He's been a prolific inventor with a track record of innovation long before Ripple. It truly paints a picture of a mind constantly pushing boundaries, doesn't it?
Indeed. Since 2006, Britto has filed patents for no fewer than 13 inventions. That's not just a collection. It's like a mosaic of a mind constantly identifying problems and architecting solutions across diverse fields.
13 patents. What kind of things?
His portfolio includes both pending applications and patents already granted by the USPTO, the U.S. Patent Office. Some delve into secure data transmission methods critical for any digital financial system. Others touch on novel payment processing systems, clearly foreshadowing his work with XRP. He's also explored concepts related to digital rights management, which speaks to a broader understanding of digital asset ownership and control.
So a wide range of digital infrastructure concepts.
Absolutely. This diverse portfolio underscores his systemic approach to innovation, shows he thinks about infrastructure, security, efficiency across multiple domains long before blockchain became mainstream. It's not just about one breakthrough. It's a persistent pattern of formalizing technological advancements. Indicates a deep, almost philosophical commitment to building foundational digital systems.
That diverse background certainly laid the groundwork, didn't it? But how did it specifically funnel into his foundational role in creating Ripple and the XRP Ledger? What was the catalyst there?
That's a great question. And this extensive background, it really culminated in his pivotal role in founding Ripple and the XRP Ledger. Back in 2011, as a programmer, Britto began developing the XRP Ledger alongside David Schwartz and Jed McCaleb. This early collaboration was critical. It shaped the very foundation of what would become this global payment network.
So the three of them working together from the start.
Right. They recognized the limitations of existing digital currencies like Bitcoin, primarily speed and scalability for high-volume transactions, and they sought to build something fundamentally different. By 2012, this intensive development work led to the formal co-founding of Ripple. Initially, it was called Newcoin Inc., then OpenCoin, before finally rebranding as Ripple Labs.
With McCaleb and Chris Larsen as well.
Correct. Co-founded with Jed McCaleb and Chris Larsen. Now, while Britto later transitioned into an advisory role at Ripple Labs until April 2019, his initial conceptual and developmental contributions were truly fundamental.
So what was his specific contribution to the XRPL design that made it different?
His specific contribution, the core focus, was on instantaneous settlement and massive scalability, aiming to process tens of thousands of transactions per second. That distinguished it sharply from Bitcoin's more limited transaction throughput at the time. This focus on speed, scalability, and cost efficiency, as we'll explore more, was truly foundational. It set XRP apart as a potential solution for global finance, not just as peer-to-peer digital cash.
So, having laid such a fundamental groundwork at Ripple, one might assume Britto just retreated back into his legendary privacy. But his influence, despite his reclusiveness, didn't stop there, did it? He continued to expand his reach within the broader blockchain ecosystem, quietly shaping other significant ventures.
That's absolutely correct. He didn't just disappear. Beyond Ripple, Britto took on the role of co-founder and president of PolySign, That's a blockchain infrastructure company, signaling his continued commitment to building foundational elements of the digital economy. Specifically, PolySign focuses on institutional-grade custody and trading solutions for digital assets. So it reinforced his interest in the secure and scalable aspects of blockchain, not just the payment side.
Okay, so still focus on infrastructure.
Exactly. He also had a brief stint as a director for the crypto exchange Bitstamp from May 2014 to September 2015. That was a significant exchange in the early days of crypto, further solidifying his hands-on involvement in the industry's operational side.
Bitstamp, right. I remember them being big early on.
They were. And his name has also appeared in a handful of U.S. court cases, most notably the SEC's high-profile lawsuit against Ripple Labs.
How was he involved there?
In that context, he was primarily mentioned as a co-creator of XRP rather than a central defendant. It really just highlighted his historical, architectural role in the technology's inception.
Yeah.
Intriguingly, though, he also initiated his own lawsuit against Jed McCaleb in a California court back in 2015.
Britto sued McCaleb. Why?
Yes. This lawsuit alleged breach of contract over McCaleb's founding of Stellar. Britto claimed that Stellar, which is a competing blockchain project also founded by McCaleb after he left Ripple.
Right, Stellar Lumens.
Exactly. Britto claims Stellar had copied Ripple's underlying code. This particular legal action, it highlights Britto's protective stance over the intellectual property and innovations he helped create. It adds another layer to his complex involvement in that early, highly competitive landscape of blockchain technology. It wasn't just about building, it was also about defining boundaries and protecting the integrity of his creations. Reinforces his deep personal investment in the original design and vision of the XRP Ledger.
This brings us to a highly debated and truly fascinating aspect of Arthur Britto's legacy, his vision for XRP. Moving from his foundational work to his purported vision, this is where the enigma of Arthur Brito truly becomes captivating, particularly with the controversial $10,000 XRP prediction. It's a figure that's become almost legendary in the community, with many believing Brito himself stated XRP was designed to hit that price.
Oh yeah, the number is everywhere.
But digging into this, we uncover a fascinating origin story for that claim and some crucial caveats. This isn't just about a number, it's about the sheer scale of ambition behind it. Why would a private co-founder, someone so elusive, be linked to such an audacious claim even indirectly? And how has it so deeply permeated the community's consciousness? Now, it's crucial to clarify the origin of this famous quote. It appears to originate from a YouTube video published in 2019, which claimed Brito made this prediction around 2017.
Okay, so a YouTube video from 2019 claiming he said it around 2017.
Right. However, and this is a significant caveat that really bears repeating, no direct, verifiable proof of Brito himself publicly stating that XRP would reach $10,000 has ever been found.
No actual recording, no written statement from him.
Nothing definitive. Even IQ Wiki, one of our sources, notes that no official sources of this affirmation could be found. So, while it's a deeply ingrained belief in parts of the XRP community, it exists more as an attributed prophecy, a powerful piece of community lore, rather than a confirmed statement from the man himself.
Right. It's taken on a life of its own.
Exactly. This attribution speaks volumes about the community's desire for future validation of XRP's potential, pinning that hope onto one of its most mysterious architects.
But regardless of the official verification of that exact $10,000 figure, it's essential to understand the context of Brito's underlying vision for XRP's utility and scalability, because that is well documented and deeply insightful.
Okay, so what was that documented vision?
Yeah, he consistently underscored the significance of scalability as paramount. Paramount in achieving the kind of widespread utility that such a valuation might imply. His grand vision was for XRP to have the capacity to accommodate the entire global population of 7.5 billion individuals, facilitating a truly global network designed to connect everyone on the planet, enabling seamless value transfer.
Accommodate the entire planet. That's ambitious.
Extremely. He and his team designed the XRP Ledger to be fast, extremely cheap, and scalable enough to support billions of users. This speaks to XRP's core purpose as a global liquidity bridge, a system that facilitates rapid, cost-effective cross-border payments by acting as an intermediary asset, allowing funds to move between different currencies and financial systems with minimal friction.
The bridge currency idea.
Exactly. So the $10,000 figure, if he did indeed say something to that effect, might have been more symbolic. A representation of the immense utility and reach he envisioned for XRP, rather than a literal price target in isolation. It's about the scale of adoption and functionality required to achieve such a widespread impact on global finance, making it indispensable for global value exchange.
Okay, that makes sense. Focusing on the utility implies massive value, even if not a specific price target.
Yeah.
So on one hand, we have this rumored $10,000 price target that ignites so much excitement and hope within the community. And on the other hand, we have a very different, almost contradictory perspective from an internal document. This contradiction adds another significant layer to his already enigmatic persona, doesn't it?
It really does.
It almost feels like two completely different visions for the same technology. If Britto genuinely believed XRP's value was secondary to its spread, how do you reconcile that with the massive public narratives of price targets? Narratives often fueled by the very community building around XRP.
That's a fascinating tension indeed, and this is where the deeper nuances of Britto's original intent become apparent. It challenges many popular assumptions about XRP. A crucial contrasting viewpoint emerges from a 2013 internal memo that circulated within Ripple. It offers a direct window into his thinking at that time.
A 2013 memo, what did it say?
In this memo, Britto had made it clear that XRP was not about hype or price speculation.
Not about hyper price speculation.
Okay, he directly stated, and this is a very telling quote, "The value of XRP is probably less important than the spread. I expect most people and institutions using the ledger to ignore XRP altogether."
Ignore XRP altogether. Wow. That directly contradicts the whole idea of holding it as an investment, doesn't it?
It directly challenges that popular narrative, yes. It suggests his primary focus was on its utility as a bridging currency for transactions, its spread across various financial systems rather than its individual price point. The profound insight here is that Britto, the architect, fundamentally viewed XRP not as a speculative asset to be bought and sold for profit, but as the plumbing of a new global financial system.
The plumbing. Invisible but essential.
Exactly. He envisioned it as an invisible, ubiquitous utility that, much like the internet protocols we rarely think about when we stream a video, enables immense value transfer without being the direct object of value itself. It's the grease in the gears of global finance, not the engine itself, in his initial vision. This perspective highlights a vision where XRP's true value is derived from its function as a frictionless medium for global liquidity.
Enabling instantaneous and cost-effective cross-border payments.
Precisely. It emphasizes utility over individual asset appreciation, which is a key distinction from many other cryptocurrencies primarily seen as speculative stores of value. So while the $10,000 prediction captures public imagination, this internal memo reveals a more pragmatic, infrastructure-focused blueprint from the architect himself. It forces us to consider if we've been looking at XRP through the wrong lens entirely.
That's a truly profound difference in perspective. And it's this foundational design that seems to have propelled the XRP ledger forward, even without Britto's public commentary. Despite his long silence and apparent disengagement from the public eye, the XRP ledger has continued to evolve into a powerful network. It seems the foundation he laid has proven incredibly robust.
It has, remarkably so. The XRPL has indeed undergone significant development, bringing it closer to that scalable vision Britto articulated. It now robustly supports smart contracts. Those are the self-executing agreements with terms written directly into code, allowing for more complex automated applications on the ledger.
Right, smart contracts are key for advanced uses.
Absolutely. It's also being actively utilized for CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. That's basically a digital form of a country's fiat currency, issued and backed by its central bank. This showcases XRPL's potential for national-level digital currency infrastructure.
Huge potential there.
Huge. We also see institutional stablecoins like RLUSD being built on it. These are cryptos pegged to stable assets like the US dollar, crucial for bridging traditional finance with the digital asset space and providing price stability.
Stablecoins are vital for real-world use.
Definitely. Furthermore, it's widely used for DeFi, decentralized finance applications offering financial services without intermediaries, NFTs, non-fungible tokens for unique digital ownership, and crucially for cross-border payments, the very use case it was originally designed to optimize.
So it's hitting all those marks.
It really is. This evolution suggests that even without his public involvement or commentary, the core architecture he helped design is now enabling many of the functionalities necessary for that global, scalable vision he outlined. The technology is moving in the direction he foresaw, allowing for the widespread utility and spread he prioritized, even if its public narrative often centers elsewhere.
And this brings us right up to the event that shattered nearly 14 years of silence. June 23, 2025. Arthur Brito, the ghost of Ripple, ends his social media hiatus, publishes a cryptic post containing a single emoji on X, formerly Twitter.
The emoji heard round the world, basically.
Pretty much. That emoji was a face without a mouth, which typically indicates speechlessness or silence, but as you can imagine, its meaning in this specific context could vary wildly, sparked immediate, intense debate. And get this, he joined Twitter way back in August 2011, almost at the platform's inception, but have not tweeted until June 23, 2025.
13, nearly 14 years of silence on the account.
Exactly. Despite accumulating over 28,000 followers who had been following an account that had, until then, never spoken a public word, this single solitary post immediately sparked widespread speculation in the XRP community, with some initially questioning if his account had been hacked. You can imagine.
Yeah, that would be the first thought, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Imagine the ripple effect, pun intended, of such a small, seemingly insignificant post from someone so profoundly silent for so long. It immediately makes you ask, why now?
What changed?
What could possibly compel such a private individual to break nearly a decade and a half of absolute silence with just one symbol?
The initial reaction was indeed that mix of excitement and skepticism, which is totally understandable given his history of extreme reclusiveness.
Yeah.
However, Ripple CTO David Schwartz, who, as we discussed, is one of Britto's closest and most trusted collaborators.
Right, Schwartz again.
He later confirmed the post was legitimate, stated directly, "I can confirm this was not a hack or compromise."
Okay, so official confirmation. Not a hack, it was him.
It was him. This confirmation from a trusted source immediately validated the event and shifted the focus from security concerns to decoding the message itself. And the fact that Schwartz, who understands Brito's deep privacy better than almost anyone, felt the need to confirm its authenticity, that speaks volumes about the significance of the event.
No kidding. So what happened with the market? Did it react?
It did. As for the market reaction, XRP saw a notable surge immediately following the post. It gained 8.1% over the past 24 hours, with most of that movement happening in the 14 hours since Britto's X post.
8.1% is pretty significant for a short period.
It is. XRP climbed from a 24-hour low of about $1.97 to around $2.20. While this is certainly a significant price jump for a single asset, it's important to provide crucial context here. Market movements are rarely down to just one thing.
Okay, what's the context?
The timing of this price surge also coincides with a broader market rebound from renewed optimism regarding a ceasefire in the Israel-Iran conflict.
So the whole market was moving up anyway.
Exactly. This means the price surge might not solely be attributed to Britto's tweet, as the overall crypto market was experiencing a positive shift. While his post undoubtedly added significant excitement and a bullish sentiment specifically for XRP, amplifying its upward trajectory, the broader market conditions at that moment were also favorable.
Right. Nuance is key.
It prevents us from attributing the entire move to a single factor, encourages a more comprehensive view of market dynamics. It raises an interesting question, though. Did Britto choose this opportune moment to amplify an already positive sentiment, or was his post the primary catalyst that then gained momentum from broader market trends? Hard to say for sure.
So given all this, the profound silence, the cryptic emoji, the market reaction, the surrounding global events, the big question remains, what does this single emoji, after 14 years of silence, really mean? The community is absolutely buzzing with theories, and we have several compelling ones from our sources. Each offers a distinct lens through which to interpret this unprecedented event. Let's dive into them because this is where the speculation truly begins.
Okay, the first prominent theory, and one gaining significant traction, suggests that Britto's return is not random. It's meticulously strategic timing, designed to coincide with major impactful developments.
Strategic timing makes sense for someone so calculatingly private.
Exactly. This theory connects his cryptic post to several key developments that were already occurring or rumored to be imminent, suggesting a deliberate signal. For instance, the XRP Ledger was experiencing record on-chain activity, logging 1.5 million transactions in just 24 hours. That's its highest volume in 4 months.
1.5 million transactions.
Yeah.
That's real usage.
That's real usage. It indicates a surge in real-world network utilization and adoption, showing the XRPL is being used at an accelerating pace for its design purpose. Secondly, there's been persistent and growing talk of Ripple IPO rumors, an initial public offering for Ripple listing shares on a public stock exchange.
The IPO rumors have been swirling for a while.
They have. If true, this would be monumental for the company, bringing it into the mainstream financial world, potentially unlocking immense value, not just for Ripple, but for the broader crypto market, signaling maturity and regulatory acceptance.
Huge implications. What else?
Thirdly, there are broader signs of a new bull market emerging across the crypto landscape. A more generally optimistic environment, renewed investor confidence for digital assets.
Okay, general market sentiment improving.
And perhaps most significantly, there was a major regulatory shift from the U.S. Federal Reserve. They recently announced they would no longer include reputational risk as a primary factor for banks engaging with digital assets.
Wait, the Fed changed guidance on reputational risk for crypto?
Yes, this effectively clears a crucial path for banks to engage more freely with digital assets like XRP, potentially opening the floodgates for institutional adoption without that previous looming threat of regulatory disapproval.
That sounds like a really big deal for institutional adoption.
It's potentially huge. These converging factors lead proponents of this theory to speculate that Britto's post could hint at a variety of significant upcoming events. Could be upcoming technology upgrades to the XRPL advancements in smart contracts, cross-chain interoperability. Could be insider developments within Ripple or PolySign about to be announced major partnerships, product launches.
Or big partnerships?
Major new global liquidity partnerships that would drastically expand XRP's utility in real-world finance. Or simply well-timed strategic moves in response to growing institutional interests and the improving regulatory landscape.
So the emoji is a signal flare.
Kind of. As John Squire, a well-known commentator in the XRP community, put it, the XRP community has been starved for a catalyst. This could hint at something deeper. Tech upgrades, insider movement, a major liquidity partnership, strategic timing. This theory posits that Britto, the quiet architect, chose this moment to subtly affirm that all the foundational work is aligning with external conditions, hinting at an imminent acceleration of the ecosystem he helped build. It implies a calculated, almost surgical precision to his timing, designed to amplify existing positive momentum and signal a new phase of growth.
That's incredibly compelling. It's like a confirmation from the unseen architect himself that the grand blueprint is finally coming to life. This leads directly into another major interpretation, that Britto's post signals his ambitious original vision for XRP is nearing fruition.
Yeah, theory number 2.
We've talked about this vision, his belief, or at least the widely circulated attribution, of XRP reaching a $10,000 price, and his focus on creating a ledger capable of supporting 8 billion people, thus enabling a truly global financial system. It's a very specific and grand vision.
Precisely. This theory posits that the face without a mouth emoji isn't about silence in terms of nothing happening, but rather silence because the actions and developments are speaking for themselves.
Like I don't need to say anything, just watch.
Exactly. The proponents of this view argue that the global shift towards digital payments, central bank digital currencies, and institutional stablecoins is aligning perfectly with Britto's original vision for XRP. These aren't abstract concepts anymore. They are global macro trends validating the foundational need for a digital asset like XRP that prioritizes speed, efficiency, scalability in a way traditional finance struggles to match.
The world is catching up to the vision.
That's the idea. They suggest that the XRP Ledger is closer than ever to serving billions of users and facilitating the kind of global, frictionless value transfer he envisioned. The network's current capabilities supporting smart contracts, institutional stablecoins like RLUSD, DeFi, NFTs, and crucially cross-border payments all point towards an ecosystem increasingly capable of handling the immense volume required for a truly global financial system.
All the pieces are falling into place.
So the emoji might be a subtle nod, a quiet affirmation from Britto himself that the foundational work is done, the pieces are aligning, and the original ambitious goals of a ubiquitous global financial network are now within tangible reach. It's an almost prophetic signal from the shadows, indicating that the future he designed is now imminent. A message that the technology is finally mature enough to realize its original grand purpose and that its moment has arrived.
And then we have a truly fascinating, almost conspiratorial perspective that offers a starkly contrasting view of Britto's purpose and his long silence. This one takes us down a very different rabbit hole.
Indeed, this is a more provocative, pseudonymous theory put forward by a user named Pumpius, and it dramatically reframes Britto's entire role and the fundamental purpose of XRP.
Okay, what's the Pumpius theory?
Under this theory, Britto's silence wasn't just privacy, it was intentional, a strategic long game played out over more than a decade. The theory posits that he was not creating a cryptocurrency for profit, but rather building a failsafe for the dollar system.
A failsafe for the dollar.
Whoa.
Yeah. This view dramatically shifts the narrative from a typical crypto investment to XRP, serving as a foundational pillar of global financial stability in times of extreme crisis. The core tenet here is that XRP wasn't designed to experience explosive price growth, which, if true, directly contradicts that popular $10,000 price prediction that animates so much of the community.
Right, the opposite of the hype.
Exactly. Instead, it was designed to replace SWIFT if the traditional financial system collapsed.
Replace SWIFT, the backbone of international banking.
That's the claim. For those who might not be familiar, SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, is the dominant global messaging network banks use for secure cross-border payments. It is the backbone of international finance. So this theory paints XRP not as a competitor in the speculative crypto market, but as a critical, almost geopolitical alternative payment rail, designed to kick in should the existing fiat-based global financial infrastructure, specifically SWIFT, falter due to systemic collapse or widespread geopolitical instability. So XRP as plan B for global finance.
That's the essence. It implies a strategic, almost national security level purpose for XRP, positioning it as a resilient, pre-built infrastructure for when traditional systems fail. Pompeius's dramatic interpretation captures this sentiment perfectly. You won't find Britto in a podcast. You won't see him on X, but you will feel his presence when the system flips, when the dollar dies, when SWIFT breaks, when the corridors light up. Then you'll know. Britto was never gone. He was always waiting.
Wow. That is dramatic. Chilling, almost.
It transforms his reclusiveness from a personal preference into a strategic necessity for the grand, almost apocalyptic vision he supposedly holds. Makes him a silent guardian of global financial continuity. It's a high-stakes, long-game interpretation of his nearly 14 years of silence.
Wow. This theory takes it to a whole new level, suggesting a much deeper, almost foundational purpose for XRP that goes far beyond typical crypto speculation. It shifts the entire perspective on his long silence, turning it into a period of strategic preparation rather than mere absence. And while we're exploring all these grand speculative possibilities, it's worth briefly acknowledging, just for balance, that given his intense privacy, it could simply be a personal act, perhaps marking a symbolic point for him. Maybe it's an inside joke or a quiet acknowledgement of a personal achievement. Who knows?
It's possible, unlikely, maybe, given the context, but possible.
Right. But given the context, the years of silence, the profound speculation he's generated, it's widely interpreted as something far more significant than just a personal milestone. It feels, to the community at least, like a message deliberately placed for them.
That's certainly the prevailing sentiment. That's an important consideration, to be fair. Yet, given the collective reaction and the weight of his historical absence, the community's inclination is certainly towards a deeper meaning, especially when interpreted through the lens of strategic timing or a grand vision coming to fruition. However, it's crucial to conclude this section by noting that, as of now, no official statement from Ripple or Britto clarifies the tweet's intent.
Still, just the emoji, no follow-up.
Nothing. The market and the broader community are still on edge, awaiting further posts or any form of clarification from this uniquely elusive figure. His single emoji has opened this Pandora's box of speculation, and without further communication, each theory remains just that, a theory. However compelling or dramatically framed, it really underscores the unique power of silence and ambiguity in a hyper-connected world, doesn't it?
It really does. So we've unpacked the layers of mystery surrounding Arthur Brito, the ghost who refuses to be fully seen, yet whose influence continues to ripple through the crypto world. From his surprising video game roots and his prolific inventing mind to his foundational role at Ripple and the XRP Ledger, we've pieced together the fragments of his career. Then his single cryptic emoji, after 14 years of profound silence, ignited a firestorm of speculation, prompting us and you to ask not just who is he, but what could this all mean for the future of digital finance? We've explored the possibilities, strategic signals of major developments, a confirmation that his ambitious vision is nearing reality, even the provocative idea of XRP as a hidden failsafe for the global financial system. It's a story woven with silence, speculation, and seismic potential, demonstrating the enduring power of an enigma in a world clamoring for answers.
Which really raises an important final question, I think. In a world craving transparency and constant updates, what power does extreme privacy and strategic silence truly hold? How does it shape the narrative and influence the future of an entire technological ecosystem? Perhaps the true message isn't in what's explicitly said, but in the calculated timing of when one chooses to break a profound silence, forcing us to look beyond mere words and consider the underlying currents of development, the broader geopolitical and financial landscape. It invites us to consider sometimes the loudest statements are those that are never fully articulated, but rather felt through their implications. What do you think?